Hello everybody, my name is Mike Fauché and I wanted to share with you my recent experience with travel routers, more notably the RAVPower unit that you see before you here. As you can see, I've had quite a few of these things and I've got some experience with them. And recently I had an opportunity to take the RAVPower on a trip with me, and it performed so well that I wanted to take this opportunity and share it with you. I'd like to give you a little bit of history on travel routers. As you can see, I've had quite a few of them, and for the most part, they all do what they're supposed to do, though they're not all created equal. This D-Link, for example, used to be one of my favorite ones. It's the interface is extremely nice. It works real well. The only issue I have with it, and the reason I went to something else, is primarily because D-Link just does a lousy job at supporting their product, and they haven't patched this thing in a couple of years. And like any of our home routers, we want to make sure that we get security updates and things like that. And D-Link is just probably one of the worst companies for tech support, or supporting their product, I should say. So these other three have been around for a while. They all have their pros and cons, but they really just don't live up to the requirements I have. So I want to talk primarily about this RAVPower. So let's get rid of these things. And let's talk briefly about the RAVPower. As you can see from the photos, this thing actually has both 2.5 and 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi, which is extremely handy when you need to stream multiple devices. The 5 gigahertz just works so much better. If we flip this thing around, and you'll see kind of at the end of this thing, there are a USB port, a USB-C, which is mainly used for charging, but can also be used for file transfers, and then an Ethernet port. So if you want to attach and share a hardwire connection or anything like that, you can do that. This thing has a SD card, which I loaded up with a 256 gig SD card, which I put a lot of movies on, which got me through my trip. A little bit of background. Recently I took a trip to Europe, I say recently, last week, and I used this device exclusively on all 4 airplanes I was on, and it just did an outstanding job, allowing me to stream up to 4 devices off of this thing. And then of course, once you get to either a hotel or, in my case, on a cruise ship, I was able to actually use this for Wi-Fi sharing. So you can attach one device, and because it's a full travel router, it will go ahead and actually allow up to, I believe it's 6 devices to attach to this thing and share that internet connection. Now, if you've ever been on a cruise ship, you know the performance is just absolutely nuts. It's just crazy slow, so it's not all that useful. But even within the cruise ship, to be able to, when you get back to the room at night, to be able to stream some content, some decent movies, was a real benefit. So anyway, this thing is just a phenomenal product. It does have a battery in it, so you can use it to charge your portable devices, but you can also use it to power the devices, which is mainly what I used it for. But the ideal combination was to have this attached to like an Anchor battery pack, and that allowed me to get through 14 hours of flights without any problems at all. So it was truly a lifesaver. I highly recommend this product. It just does a great job. And I'll take you into the configuration setup and show you some of the basic features so you get an idea of kind of what it can do. All right, what I'd like to do is kind of go over some of the features and basically the initial configuration and how you set the thing up. The very first thing you do after you power it on is you're going to go into your settings, and you should see the device listed. Now, I've renamed mine, so yours may be called something a little different. But here, as you can see on my screen, I have the RAV FileHub-5G. So I'm going to go ahead and connect to that. Now, I've already set up the password. Otherwise, what it would actually do is prompt you for the password. So once you've actually connected via Wi-Fi, then your next step is to actually go into the device itself. So we'll do that by actually going into the FileHub application. And here you're going to see kind of a basically blank screen. The first thing you'll notice is up on the top is it tells you you're on the SD card. It's 238 gig card, and you've got 35 gigs available, or in my case, that's what I have. So if I want to see what's on the actual device, I'm going to go ahead and click on File Management. And here are my folders that I've actually set up on there that I can use. If I go to my folder, you can see that I've got just a pile of movies in there that I've copied onto the SD card. And this device will actually use an SD card and a USB or either or. So I can attach both of them and switch between them. So if I've got more contents on a USB drive, I can actually use that. So if I go back to the main screen, I can go to the settings icon and I can see all of the things that I can actually change. The unit has the ability to actually attach to it via either a 2.4 gigahertz or a 5 gigahertz. So in my case, what I've done is I've actually, as you can see, it says Wi-Fi disk 5G. I'm actually attaching to this through a 5 gigahertz, since most of the time I'm using this with a very close proximity. In addition, the unit can also attach to your Wi-Fi access point using either a 2.4 or 5 gigahertz. And then I've got some system settings, so I can actually, put in users, disk information, and also do a firmware upgrade if there's one available. I've also enabled guest user, which I can optionally turn on and off, and a few other settings in here. And for the most part, it's literally plug and play. So once I get here, I hit File Management, I go to the movies, and I play the movies I want. Once it's configured to share internet, then it will do that and share the internet across all the devices that are attached to it. So it's pretty much that simple. I mean, there's a few other things that you can do, but for the most part, that's the core features of the device. Okay, and as I mentioned, if you do want to share internet settings with this device, you can actually click on Internet Settings. I've already got mine configured. As you can see that it's going to actually scan, pull up everything that's in the area, which is mostly my neighbors. And you'll be able to attach the internet sharing onto one of those access points. So once you attach to the access points, all the portable devices that are actually connected to this RAVPower will actually share that internet connection. So not only will you have access to all the movie files, but you'll also have access to share the connection. So making it really handy and when you go to either hotels, public places, and as I mentioned earlier, in my recent trip to Europe on an airplane, this worked out really well. I obviously did not share internet connections on an airplane, but it was nice to be able to stream all my content to multiple devices during the trip. Anyway, that's an overview of the RAVPower. Hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to subscribe and let me know if you have any questions. Thanks for listening.